Hi, I'm Cora,
Hi, I'm Luke.
and today we're talking about life after school.
Am I? I don't know yet.
So when you're getting towards the end of school, you can suddenly feel all this pressure about what am I going to do with my life, and like you need to choose just one thing that you want to do.
Still now.
Yeah.
What am I going to do with my life? Yeah. I think I definitely did, like throughout my life I've had, when I was like 8 I wanted to be a train driver, and then up until I was 15 I wanted to be a physicist, and I wanted to go to Manchester University and be taught by Brian Cox, so that was a goal of
Nice.
mine. And then I wanted to do film, and then I got distracted by YouTube, and then I'm doing sort of both of them at the same time. And so I think even now everyone's lost. Some people are really assured of themselves, but it's perfectly natural to be trying to work out what you want to do. I guess the advice I was given at that was just keep your options as open as possible. And so doing sort of quite broad A-levels, if you're really unsure, like things that you can use and apply to anything like English or physics or maths that are quite, but that's not to say or to discourage people from doing something specific they love. I was talked out of doing media studies and then doing film studies, and I kind of regret that because it wasn't time I had to sort of learn those things. But I think talking to people, talk to teachers, talk to parents who've sort of gone through life and know a bit more than you, and if you can and are happy to, keep your options as widely open as possible. And then if you're having to keep those options open, then in your spare time, learn the thing you're passionate about. You don't necessarily have to do an A-level in it to keep your options open.
Yeah, definitely. And there's also people that you can talk to, like careers advisors, who that's their job, is to help you figure out what you want to do and how to do it.
Yeah, going along to, like, if you're lost and you want to say like, oh, I kind of want to do physics, kind of want to do animal welfare, then do a bit of those things.
Yeah.
Like go down for an hour to your animal place or to a university and look at physics and see what makes you excited.
Exactly. I think that's quite a main point, is what makes you excited,
Yeah.
because you spend so much of your life at work. Once you have a job, it needs to be something that you enjoy doing, or that you care about, and if that's possible for you, then go for it.
Especially if it's literally like 30, 40, 50 hours of your week times by your life, then try and work out what you like.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, like everyone sometimes feels a bit lost about what they want, and you don't have to choose just one thing. That's not the path for the rest of your life.
Exactly. I mean, I was saying on my way up here to film this, I was saying that I'm like the prime example of this, because I went to school and messed up my A-levels because I was distracted by doing silly creative things, and then I did another year, so I've done that.
Yeah.
And then I went to university despite not really being that keen to do university, and then I quit university and then did my personal, trying to make it on my own kind of thing.
Yeah.
I went to uni for 1 year. I went because I sort of felt, like a lot of people watching this, I think would feel like it's the thing they have to do. I was very much encouraged by my parents that going to university, and I was sort of scared of the idea of not going to university. And that's not to say it's not the right thing for some people, of course it is. But I went for 1 year, and a year in I sort of went, no, and left. And that's also fine. Both of those are valid choices in life. Obviously, there are some jobs where you really have to have a degree, but there are some things, like working in media, like I do, where you don't have to have a degree, and not having a degree is a perfectly valid choice.
So like with uni, it can feel on the run up to your exams and your result time really, really stressful in case you don't get the right grades to like get into the uni you want. But there are options available if you don't quite get the grade you wanted.
And so the two options you have are that if you still want to go to uni, you can do clearing, which is where other universities that maybe weren't your first choice have spare places and will offer them up, and you can do that through UCAS. And I know people who've done that and been very happy with the choices they made. Or you can do what I did when I didn't get my first grades first time around. And what I did was I went back to sixth form and I did another half year to get a few of my grades up. And that, at the time, I was so ashamed of that. Like, I was devastated that I had to do it. But actually that year was time for me to do part-time learning, part-time becoming a functioning adult in the world. And I really would encourage people not to be ashamed if that's what they have to do. Like, you're just trying to work harder and do good things and get grades you want to get. And so that's another option if you don't get the grades you want.
So depending what it is that you want to do in the future, like you were saying, there's some jobs where you really don't need to go to university to do them. And an option for some of those roles could be things like apprenticeships.
Yeah. Now, I've never done an apprenticeship, but I have done sort of the equivalent, which is learning on the job. And that's sort of what an apprenticeship is it's somewhere in between like education and working, where you're paid like a often lower wage than the standard wage, but your employer is sort of training you up to work in that industry. And often you can then stay on in that company. I know people who've done apprenticeships and then worked at that company for several years.
If apprenticeships or uni aren't for you, then there's also the option of actually going out and working.
So yeah, I guess if you can prove, I think, that you're doing 20 hours or more a week in kind of working or training or volunteering. And so if your fear is unhappiness, then really focus on the stuff that you're passionate about, because you have to do that and you have to do it every day for a good portion of your life. And the thing is, that can be scary, but you can, if you fail, you can go back to uni, you can go back to college. My mum retrained when she was 50 as a teacher. She'd been a nurse for like the majority of her life and retrained as a teacher, and now she's a teacher. It's not like your life has to be decided when you're 18 years old, 19 years old, and that's it. You can change as many times as you like during your life.
Never too late.
No.
No. Thank you so much for coming in and talking to us today.
You're welcome. The pleasure was all mine.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.